Greetings everyone, my name is Cassandra and you're watching Spotless Mind Tarot. In this Pick a Card Tarot reading, we will receive an outlook of what you could expect in July 2023. There are 3 oracle cards to choose from. We have card 1, Play, card 2, Curiosity, and card 3, Protection. Choose the very first card that you saw or the card that is grabbing your attention. Please keep in mind that this is a general reading, so some of the messages I deliver may not be for you. For those of you who have picked a card already, you may jump to your reading now. If you still need more time, then stick around. Timestamps are in the description below. If you enjoyed this tarot reading and would like for me to go even deeper for you, I offer private readings that you can purchase on my Etsy shop. Not only do I offer tarot readings, but I also make gemstone and metal jewelry, digital birth charts, and acrylic paintings. The link to my shop can be found on the screen or in the description below. Welcome and thank you for your presence. If you picked card 1, Play, this is your reading for July 2023. We will begin the reading by taking a look at your current energies and see where you are at this moment. Then we'll look at what to expect in the month ahead. Today I am using the Urban Crow Oracle, the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot, and Angelarium, Oracle of Emanations. Okay, so the oracle that we have drawn for this reading is number 36, Play. This card basically represents the underlining message of this reading. It's basically like your guiding point. It is the direction to go into or even to avoid, depending on the situation. It is the main message that we are receiving. And then for tarot cards, we have for your current energies, the Tower, 5 of Cups, Page of Cups. And then for what to expect, we have the Hierophant, 8 of Swords, and the World. And then this bottom left oracle is representing the guiding force for you. It is an energy or an entity or a spirit guide that you can call upon for support. And it is also just representing archetypal influence for you to maybe model yourself after or use as inspiration for the month ahead. Okay, so we're going to start with the current energies. So there seems to be some kind of crisis happening or just some sudden shift, I feel like, for a lot of you, because we have the tarot out, or we have the Tower out, and then the 5 of Cups following right after. It appears that there's been some major losses in recent times, or currently that's what you're experiencing. This loss can be any kind of loss too. It could even just be emotional. It doesn't have to be something physical. So it's going to depend on each person watching what it is exactly that you are going through as far as a loss or a breaking down of some sort. There also may be a desire to just give up or to give something away, give a piece of yourself away, or I don't know, I'm getting like property, but overall there's something needs to go as well, is what I'm also picking up on. Something needs to go, something needs to clear away, something very unstable. And it's a very disappointing because the 5 of Cups also represents some major disappointment. You could also be very too hyper focused on the negative aspects. I feel that maybe with this there could be some kind of guilt or regret or like a burden. So I think it's important that you really analyze the situation and ask yourself, is it necessary to feel this way? Like, is this the right way to feel about this situation? Or are you being too caught up in one aspect of it, like one point of it? And that's why I feel that maybe there's some guilt here or some regret. Like, I feel like there's too much focus in an area that's causing this guilt, regret, or even some shame or feeling like a burden or something like that. So I hope it's not too deep for you. I hope it's not too heavy for you, what I'm saying. Again, this could play out on many different levels for everybody. So for some of you, it may be really heavy, and for some others, it may not be as deep. But there is something happening here where you're needing to let go. You're being forced and asked to let go. And then with the Page of Cups, you know, it's asking you to be very self-reflective of the situation, to really ask yourself some critical questions. And it's a great time to really sit and reevaluate yourself and ask yourself some tough questions. Or like, I'm also getting like checking in with yourself. This is a good time to check in with yourself in more ways than one. Like, there's a lot of analysis that needs to happen here. And so I could see why the Oracle card play came out, because this card's really busy to me. The crows are playing with each other. They're playing in the rain. They're playing in the puddles. And then there's like these string lights at the top, you know, and so it's kind of got this whole vibe going on. And so I think, you know, the crows are like making the most of the situation. Like, all that's happening in the picture is it's raining, right? And so, but they're making the most of it. Like, they're really tuned in, and it's reminding me of like inner child energy and how a child would feel the same way, perhaps, you know, when it rains, and how it's like the most amazing thing ever, right? And so, you know, you may even be asked to tap into that inner child, but I think it's more importantly, it's allowing yourself the space to enjoy life regardless of what may be happening, because what's happening is very temporary. And this is the current energy. So, like, you're in the moment, possibly with this. Like, this may be happening right now for you, or if anything, it's a very recent thing. I also feel like there could be some new offers. It may be more related to creativity and to romance, but there's a new opportunity. You're being invited to really tap into your emotions and your feelings, and to really accept them and go through them, but in a very healthy way, to go through them from a place of compassion for yourself. These may be feelings that maybe you suppress, or feelings that you tend to ignore, or you don't really give much attention to. It can be really healthy to identify our feelings and our emotions and why we feel them, and to be very honest with ourselves, to say it out loud, or even to write it down, to write down exactly what you feel and why, and not be ashamed of it or have a good reason to feel that way. It's just, that's what you feel. And so you need to allow that for yourself. At this time, you really need to give yourself that space. And so that's what's really important here right now. You're being asked to not only, you know, evaluate yourself, but to give yourself some space, give yourself some grace. Don't beat yourself up. You know, the Five of Cups, it's could be you're too focused on your losses more than what you have still. Like, you still have enough. You still have what you need to keep going forward. If you look at the imagery, he's got two cups behind him, but he's so focused on what's been knocked over, what he can no longer keep and obtain. And so I feel like for some of you, there was an ending of a relationship, and you maybe you are focused like on all the good things, and you're like completely ignoring the fact that if this relationship ended, there's a good reason for that. Regardless of how you feel about it, regardless of what happened, this is a very necessary thing to happen because we have the tower. The tower is breaking away things that are no longer good for you. And it doesn't have to necessarily be like that, like no longer good for you. It's just, it's no longer in alignment with you. It no longer has a purpose for you on this path. It basically cannot move forward with you on your path, especially if there's been a breakup. This is where both of you guys come to an end on your paths, and they need to go their separate way now. And so that's one way of looking at this, is that like it's not the end of anything. You still have a way to go, and you alone can only walk your path, and you have to leave room for the people that align with your path to come in and to go as well when it's time for them to go. I also feel like there's something you're missing out on right now. There's something that's happening around you. It's going to be different for everybody, but there's something happening right now that you're missing out. You're not noticing it. I can't really pin it down to what that is. So I feel like for everybody, there's just something going on. It's like almost like pack your bags and go, but that's more metaphorically, but maybe that might apply for somebody. It's time for you to move on, basically, because there is something waiting for you. There's like a new opportunity. Again, we do have the Page of Cups, so like there can be an invite. I just realized I forgot to mention the name of the oracle card at the bottom left, the spirit guide that you can call upon, and it is from Angelarium. It is a very cool deck full of like archangels and other emanations. And this one is, and I may be pronouncing this wrong, the name is Sahakil, Angel of Sky, and he is one of the 7 most powerful angels. You can read about him in the book of Enoch. And with this card, I really feel that you're being asked to step in to a type of leadership role, and this is more so for yourself. So it doesn't have to be like stepping into a leadership role for other people. If anything, this is something to do for yourself. This is an archetype to you can embody. This archangel is responsible for making sure things play out in divine order, that there is divine justice and a cosmic harmony, obeying universal laws. And so this can speak a lot about fate and karma as well as your dharma. Sometimes all we can really do is to accept what is. It's like the saying, it is what it is, but not in a passive way or a way of self-rejection or denying something to yourself. It's more of accepting that sometimes the universe will reject us in ways that don't make sense at all, and instead of fighting it, the best thing you could do for yourself is to just let it go. Now, there are times when maybe you do need to fight against it in some way to learn from it. There could still be a lesson. It depends how long you are in that energy, but you still need to, there's some things that you just go through, like the dark night of the soul or anything like that, where you have to, it's an unbearable phase and cycle of your life that is absolutely necessary to purge and cleanse things from your life that basically, they don't have a place anymore. I don't want to get too deep, and I'm not trying to go off on a tangent here. Sometimes we have to go through things for quite some time because there's a lot of unearthing we need to do. But at the same time, with this situation, so with that said, there's something about this that maybe it's not going to be something you're just going to get over this month, okay? But it is something to keep in mind that you do need to accept what has happened, and it doesn't matter what you feel or say or do. There's this ending. It needs to end. Whatever this ending is for you, it needs to go. It's final. It's the tower. It's final. All you can really do is accept it, make peace with it, move on in some way. And I do advise strongly that you do it in a healthy, conscious way. You do it in a way that you understand this needed to happen because there's something else that will take its place, which takes us into what you can expect in the month ahead. And it depends on like when you click on this reading. If you click on this reading and start watching it in the middle of the month, this may have happened for you at the beginning of the month, or it may be happening for you right now. And then the month ahead will be what is remaining in the month ahead for you. So it's going to depend on when you watch this video. We have the Hierophant, and I think that's such a very powerful message. And there's a lot we can break down with the Hierophant. And it does speak on what I was just saying about fate and karma and accepting that some things have to happen because that's the way the universe has it set up for us. That is the best possible outcome we can receive based on our situation. And I'm not trying to say that, and I'm not trying to be insensitive about that. I'm just channeling, how it needs to come out. I'm just saying it how I'm receiving it. The Hierophant is asking you to have faith. It is asking you to rely on your own spiritual wisdom, and maybe to seek the spiritual wisdom of another, from a priest, from a guru, from a spiritual leader, a spiritual speaker. It could even just be within yourself, your own spiritual connection, your own connection to God or source or goddess or any other deity or emanation, any kind of being that you connect with and converse with. We also have the Eight of Swords, and I feel in this reading it is being surrounded because it is being surrounded by the Hierophant in the world. I feel this is like this time right now is such a catalyst for you. I just feel like there's some deep purging. There's some deep transformation taking place. You may not be aware of it. I feel like maybe it's happening, but you're not giving it much attention. And there could be reasons for that. Either you choose not to, or you may just be very preoccupied with everything else going on in your life. In the month ahead, you are going to, first of all, I feel like acceptance is so important here. We have such very karmic energy here, especially here with the World card. This is represented by Saturn, which is a very karmic planet. Saturn represents some very karmic cycles for us as individuals as well as a collective. Saturn does a lot for us in exchange for, oftentimes I feel that people mistake Jupiter as the one who's always giving and blessing people, but Saturn is the one who really has the blessings that are they're more fulfilling, and they tend to be more long term because they're usually things that you've earned, things you've worked for, things that are owed to you on a karmic level. Like it's a birthright. And so that can go with what I was saying about having to just see this as something necessary to occur because it's just part of your path. And that might be hard for some people to swallow. I understand completely. It's just like that's just like how the world is, the soul's journey. And people who tend to have more, I would say, chaos in their life, even though they do everything they can to keep a balance. And you're going to see this a lot with like Capricorn and Libra, and as well as Scorpio energy, that, you know, everything they do counts. Like everything they do has a repercussion, and it's going to vary for each sign, you know. And this is just an example. You don't have to be or have any planets in these signs, but just speaking on the energy, this is just the best way I could explain it. Saturn is exalted in Libra, and so that comes with their indecision oftentimes, because they know the decision they're going to make is final. Like you can't go back. You can't reverse it. You know, no Uno reverse here. It's final. And then with the world, with it being represented by Saturn, like it's final. The world represents a completion. It's the finale. It's the end of the story. Of course, we have to be reminded that it's not the complete, there's never a complete ending. There's always cycles. There's always going to be a death and a rebirth. And so keep that in mind. But there is an ending happening here, a major, major ending. It's safe to say it in the month of July for you guys, regardless of what's happening, this is a major completion for you, an ending of a huge, huge karmic cycle. And of course, why not go out with a big bang here? Why not just, you know, put it all on the line here? But I feel like that's the universe doing that for you. Like it's giving you the final, you know, it's the final climax. And so it's important here with the emanation, Sahakil, and how his role is to make sure things are in divine order. He's here to remind you and to guide you on this path that you're on. And for this group, I feel like this is a pretty heavy reading. At least for me, again, like it could you could be experiencing this at, you know, a much lesser level than what I'm saying, but there is something really major happening here for you guys. I feel like there's a lot of distractions for you at this time. I feel like your mind is all over the place. In this reading, I kind of feel all over the place. And it feels heavy. The energy overall feels heavy. Again, you're going through some deep transformation. You are going to see a completion happening this month. It's important to stay grounded and to stay rooted in yourself, stay rooted in your truth, regardless of what's happening, regardless of what is having to fall away. It's important that you still honor yourself. You still walk your path without regret, without feeling guilty for it, without shame, without feeling like you are ignoring somebody or feeling like it is selfish, because it is absolutely not. This is a journey for you. And so this month, you're going to see some major alignment within yourself. I feel you can even reach a point of where you're going to feel really balanced. You're going to feel really, it's like a relief, but it's not a relief to where, I don't know how to explain it. It's just very balanced. And there's a relief in that, but it's balanced in the sense that, you know, you're not ignoring one side for the other. You're not ignoring the bad for the good. You're just putting them on a scale. And I'm getting like the Egyptian god that weighs a heart with a feather on a scale. I remember seeing it in the show Moon Knight, where a heart and a feather is weighed, and the feather is known as the feather of truth. And there's also the saying, it's in Christian religion, the weighing of souls. That seems to be something that may be playing out for you this month. It could just be metaphorically. So there seems to be some kind of judgment happening. We don't have the judgment card, but I really feel like there's a judgment taking place. I feel like you're being tested, you're being reminded. So this is a very powerful reading. And for those of you who picked this, I apologize for that sound. It sounded like a police car. And it's interesting how, speaking on judgment, and then with judgment, there are the horns that, on the tarot card, you could see the image of horns and it's waking up the dead for judgment. And, we just heard a car alarm or a car horn go off. So, yeah, like it feels really heavy, and I'm like having a hard time trying to get the right words out. And so for me, it's more felt than there is anything to say. Like, this is something very personal for each of you. Perhaps, I guess there's not much else I could say about this. And I hope that the images on the card are speaking to you as well, and, influencing your own psyche and your own intuition to pick up on what the cards are trying to say, what the spirits are trying to deliver to you. Okay, so I'm actually going to end the reading here on that note. And I really do hope that this reading turned out for you. I hope that it was something you can relate to and that you were able to find a message in this reading. Again, just remember that things are playing out in divine order. And I really am feeling called to emphasize that this is very, very necessary. You have a much higher purpose, and you're being called into this higher purpose. And with the Hierophant, this is about compassion and wisdom and knowledge, as well as love. Love in the sense that, God is love, that you are a creation of love. And so love is a very important part of life. It's a very necessary aspect of life. Life would not exist without love. If we were not loved, we would not be here. We would have not been created. And so I'll just leave it at that. I do have a channeled song for you. This is just a song that came to me and I feel like applied to this reading. So before I pulled cards and I was thinking about this group of people who are going to pick card one, the song popped up in my head, and it's a brand new song by Fabo called Express Yourself. And okay, so it might be more of a promiscuous song, but you could change the subject matter of the song and apply it to your life. But if anything, the title of the song, Express Yourself, may be a phrase you needed to hear right now. There's a message in that for sure. And remember, we have the Oracle card play, which now I will display on the screen for you guys, what it says in the booklet, so you can take that with you. I suggest you screenshot it and save it. Keep it with you this month and kind of remind yourself of that energy of play, of, letting go and not worrying about what anyone thinks, not worrying about what's happening. Take the time out to enjoy life, to appreciate life. And again, with the crows, they're playing in the rain and they're just appreciating the little thing of rain, which, rain isn't little, it's kind of a big deal, but, just in the sense of you don't really need anything to entertain yourself or to be entertained by the world, especially by nature. Okay, so that ends here. I hope you guys have a blessed month ahead. I wish you all the best, and I hope to see you in the next month in August. The next video that will come out on this channel will be the new moon. So we will look at the Cancer new moon and look at the 6 months ahead. If you haven't already, I suggest you go watch the Gemini new moon video. And I do offer private tarot readings. You may book your reading from me on my Etsy shop. All the links and everything you need are in the description below. Welcome and thank you for your presence. If you pick card number 2, Curiosity, this is your reading for July 2023. We will begin the reading by taking a look at your current energies and see where you are at this moment. Then we'll look at what to expect in the month ahead. Today I am using the Urban Crow Oracle, the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot, and Angelarium Oracle of Emanations. To start the reading, the oracle card that you picked is basically the card that represents the overall themes for this month. It will be the overall energy for you. It can also represent what you would like to accomplish in this month. And so we have curiosity here. And so immediately I feel for most of you, if not all of you, you are looking for a greater purpose. You are looking for something that can not only enhance any kind of skills you have, maybe gain more knowledge, more experience, but something that can ultimately, if not can, it will ultimately bring you some kind of higher consciousness. So it's more like a soulful kind of higher purpose versus like looking for purpose here in the world. I feel like this month you guys are going to really be exploring a greater purpose within your own soul. This could also mean for others, I'm getting that maybe some of you are graduating, maybe some of you have earned a degree, or you've completed some kind of training or some kind of course, and now you're looking to take your knowledge and wisdom and experience and apply it to the real world. I feel like you are going to be, a lot of you are going to be job hunting, a lot of you are going to, maybe even getting like looking for a new residence, a roommate, like you're looking to start something new, like begin a new chapter. And it doesn't have to be anything like huge or major. I just feel that you guys are ready to start something. So some of you may already be expecting something new to begin for you. Again, like maybe it could be job related, maybe it could be at a soul level, like, you know, expanding your consciousness. But overall, however that applies to you, that is basically like the main thing for this month. And then for your current energies, we have the Knight of Wands, 10 of Cups, and 2 of Pentacles. And then what you could expect to happen this month, we have the 6 of Swords, the Sun, and Ace of Cups. And then an energy that I introduced to this reading, it wasn't in the last reading. I decided to pull a second oracle card, and this is going to represent a spirit guide, or it will be an archangel or an emanation. It will be a spirit animal, you know, depending on the month. And this month we're doing emanations. And for you guys, we got, and I may be pronouncing this incorrectly, but we got Zachriel, and this is the angel of memory. And Zachriel is one of the 7 holy angels who carry out God's duties. And in the first reading, we got one of the 7 angels as well, one of the 7 archangels. There are plenty of more archangels, but there's like 7 main ones. There might even be like a total of like 13 or something, or I'm not too sure actually. But I do know there's like 7 main angels, and they kind of keep order, and they kind of watch over basically their guides and guardians. And so this is an energy, this is an archangel if you would want to work with him, you know, that you can call upon this month, or even just take some kind of inspiration from this energy, from this entity. It could be an archetype that maybe you yourself want to step more into. And so I would suggest that you meditate and work with this angel this month if you feel called to, go deeper. And so it's interesting enough that this angel represents memory, and it is a keeper of memory. And then we have the card Curiosity to go with it. And this could be a very cerebral month for you. You could be really again, like tapped into the higher mind, your higher consciousness. And I think it's pretty safe to say at this point that something's going to happen this month where you do gain a new sense of higher consciousness. And I would even suggest that your memory will be put to the test. Perhaps, you know, for those of you who are stepping into like a new position, or, you know, you've graduated, you know, you're having to use your memory skills to apply it to the real world now. Okay, so first we'll look at the current energies with the tarot, and this will give us an idea of where you are at the moment. And if it doesn't resonate, then I would suggest trying another pile. If none of the other piles stick out to you, then I suppose next reading, I hope that there is something for you there. With the current energies, you do seem overall to be in a pretty good place. I feel that you guys are very confident and you're very ready to take on the world. You're very ready to move ahead and you're very excited to see what has yet to come. I feel that for the most part, you guys are in a very good place mentally, emotionally, as well as physically. Perhaps your finances are doing very well, or you're needing to give more attention to that at this time. With the Two of Pentacles here, this represents a need for balance, a need for organization and proper planning, being resourceful and being very flexible. Now is a time for you to really be open to all the possibilities. Overall, you guys do seem very ready to move on. I feel that like the possibilities are endless for you guys. You have a lot of support behind you. Your friends and family are very supportive of you at this time. I also feel that some of you, maybe you're experiencing a lot of luck recently. Like things have just like magically, like you'll think of something, like something that you need, something you need to acquire, and all of a sudden it shows up in your life. Like it's instant. Your manifestation is very instant. So that's pretty exciting because I feel this is opening you up to the universe in a way that perhaps maybe you didn't experience before. There's something that you really deeply desire and something that you really like think about all the time. It could be a person, it could be a job, it could just be something that's in your future, something that you feel is very attainable and very doable. And for a lot of you, I feel that you're wondering, how can I make this possible for myself? How can I bring this in to reality? And it's like, you know, because there are times when you like will think of something or need something and then it appears in you know, the instant manifestation that's happening for you. I feel that you are trying to figure out how to make that work for this thing that is very, that's deeper, something that's more meaningful, something that is, you know, isn't just gonna come with a wish, you know, and it's not necessarily something that you have to work hard for either, but you know, it's not gonna just come in easy for you. But you do feel that it is very, still very attainable for yourself. It's still something that can happen and something that can be very real for you. Some of you may be really interested in investing, and I would say this is a good time for that. So depending on like whatever market you're interested in, whatever you're interested in investing, let's say maybe real estate, but let's say maybe like right now it's not a good time because of like whatever reason, the markets aren't good. I'm not familiar with that, but if there's something that you want to invest in that is not so much like safe, but something that you want to invest in that is If there's something you want to invest in that has a green light, that like everything checks out, everything falls in order, this would be a great time for that. I do know Venus will go retrograde this month. She is in her shadow period right now. And so when it does come to money and investments, you do want to be mindful because of the shadow and the retrograde period. However, retrogrades are a good time for investment, but it needs to be something that you've thought of before, something that you've planned for, something that you've been saving for. It shouldn't be something completely out of the blue and brand new, like all of a sudden someone has some stocks they want to sell to you, and you've never done stocks or you never thought about doing stocks before. That probably wouldn't be a good investment right now because of the retrograde. But if it's something that you've been thinking about and planning about, even if it's something you've thought about within the past year, but maybe you haven't made any real plans, but an opportunity comes up for you, whether it's your own like intuition opportunity or an actual opportunity outside of you, like an offer, this would be a good time to do that, to invest into it. Now, of course, with the Two of Pentacles, though, you always want to be careful with this. It is a very positive card when it comes to being resourceful, being flexible, investing, balancing, your books, things like that. But because it is a balance, one side can tip more than the other, and it could create some chaos. It can create some loss as well. So you want to be mindful of that. You want to take the necessary steps. Now is not a good time to cut corners or to jump ahead, even if you have the opportunity to jump ahead. Let's say you have more money to invest into this. Let's not do that. Let's not put more money into it. Let's just stick with the original plan. So it's important this month and at this time because this is mostly the current energies, but it is important the rest of this month that you are just taking the necessary steps. You're sticking to the original plan. You're not cutting corners. And that way everything should stay balanced. Everything should work out for you in your favor. I will say though that this is pretty exciting stuff for you guys. I'm pretty excited for you. And mostly because I feel that you guys, the position you're in, like this is something you've worked for. I don't see this as something like just some. I feel that a lot of you guys do have some like luck happening. So maybe you want to see where Jupiter is and what it's doing to your birth chart, or maybe you just are naturally a lucky person. But I feel like the luck has more to do with like your karma. It has more to do with what you've done to earn that luck. It's not just some magic kind of luck. And I say that because we have the Knight of Wands and he's very determined. He's very hardworking. He's ready to go. He's ready to take on and he's gonna work. He's gonna fight. He's not gonna be passive about it. This is a card about pursuing goals. And so overall for you guys, things look very good for you. The current energy is very strong. It's very confident. And I did the first reading yesterday, the first card, and it was in contrast to that reading, and not trying to like compare or create competition or anything, but like there's a huge contrast between the first one, which was more heavier. It was there seemed to be a lot more distractions with whoever is going to choose that pile. And then compared to this pile, it's more, you guys are more confident, you're more stable right now. The energy that I'm feeling between the two readings are very different. I feel more upbeat. I feel more lively with this reading. And so many blessings to the first group of people because they really need it. They really need all the support they can get. And because I said that, maybe you guys are going to be supporting somebody. Although I do feel that you guys are receiving a lot of support from friends and family and, just people in general. I feel that you are also going to be a great support system for somebody. It could be in any way. It could be financial, it could be emotional, it could be like a coaching, like you can offer advice to them. It might even be financial advice. I do feel that there's a lot about finances, but as well, just resources in general. And when I say resources, I also include things like skill and talent. Like your talent is a resource. You could use a skill. So like let's just say that you're very skillful with like woodwork. And so that's a resource because you can build yourself things out of wood. You can build your own furniture if you wanted to. And that's pretty resourceful, right? And so you could really help somebody here with your resources, money, skill, advice, whatever they're in need of. You might even know somebody who has also watched this video and they picked card one. Maybe they're the person that you need to offer some support and guidance for at this time. Okay, so now we're gonna look at what you could expect to come in for you this month. This is the energy that's stepping into your life now, depending on when you click on this reading. So if you click on this reading in the middle of the month, the current energies could be what's happening for you right now, or it was happening at the beginning of the month. Either way, this is what's coming into you now, no matter when you click on the reading. And again, we have the Six of Swords, the Sun, and Ace of Cups. And the Six of Swords is great because this is showing me that you are definitely moving forward. And I mean, we have so much here that is saying you are moving forward, you are off on a new adventure. We have the Knight of Wands, and then we have the Six of Swords, and even the Sun card. There's a lot of movement, and then with curiosity, there's just a lot of movement happening. There's a lot of going forward, moving on. And the Six of Wands or the Six of Swords is telling me that you are overcoming some very difficult times now. It could be any level of difficulty. So for those of you who were a student, you had difficulties with tests and homework and assignments, things like that, and now you're done. They're over with. You don't gotta test anymore. You don't gotta stay up late and study anymore. You can put that all behind you now. You can put behind anything that you were dealing with up until this moment. It's in your past. And I do feel like there's such a relief here with knowing that there is a lot for you to celebrate, for sure. So even if you didn't graduate or anything like that, I still feel this is a good time for you to celebrate. Really take in the energies of this month. Really take in the energies of summer. It is summer now. And so, you could really, at least in the northern hemisphere, it's summer. So in the southern hemisphere, it's winter. Either way, you could still really benefit from, I would say, nature, from the sun, from the air. I feel there's something in the air for you guys. And I feel that you were being promised something here. You were being promised peace. You're being promised security and safety. I love the artwork on the Ace of Cups. It is absolutely beautiful in this deck. This entire deck is gorgeous. But the Ace of Cups is like, there's something very special. It's very peaceful. And we do have there's a dove on top of the cup, and then there's some lotus flowers at the bottom. And so there's just a lot of serenity, tranquility. It's like a peace offering. You're being given a peace offering. Somebody from the past might step in this month. Somebody might come in to make a peace offering. Somebody is going to extend an olive branch to you. It could be somebody from the past, or it could be somebody new this month, or even just someone in your life right now. Either way, I feel there's going to be a handshake, literally or metaphorically. There's also something about being rescued or you doing the rescuing. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the current energies on how I was picking up, that you may be offering some help and support for somebody. And so maybe there will be a crisis you need to attend to. It may be your own crisis or the crisis of someone else. I do feel though that it is more for somebody else. Either way, even if it was your own, I feel that you can step up and help out in some way. You could rescue this person or rescue yourself. You can get yourself out of this situation. Things might really turn around in the middle of the month around Leo season, especially during Venus retrograde, which happens on the 22nd. Leo season will begin likely around the 21st. And so perhaps you want to check where Leo is in your own birth chart if you're familiar with astrology in your own birth chart, and see what is being activated. See what house Leo occupies, and that should give you a sense of what you could expect. If anything, I'm starting to feel that what you could expect has a lot to do with where Leo is in your chart, or even where your sun is placed. The ruler, you want to look at the ruler of Leo, which is the sun, and we have the sun card. There's going to be a breakthrough in that part of your life. So if you are a first house sun, for example, then this would be a breakthrough with your own identity, with your own place in the world, how others see you. You might even gain some kind of recognition, you might go viral, for example, if you have your sun in the first house. I would even apply this to Leo. If you have a Leo rising, that may be the case for you. You'll be getting there can be some attention being brought to you, but it's not so much focused on the fame and fortune part. It's more like your time has come. I feel like this month, because, in the beginning of the reading, I mentioned that there could be a deep soul purpose occurring for you, or some kind of outward purpose. And you can be getting some kind of recognition for that, for whatever this purpose is, whether it's at a soul level or it's something external, like a job position or a career path or anything like that. You can get some recognition. If it's at a soul level, you may not get external recognition though, so keep that in mind. It may just be more spiritual. You may just be connecting more with, archangels or entities or guides, ancestors, things like that. You just may be getting more recognition from them. Either way, it's like there's an upgrade happening here, and I'm just metaphorically tying that into like the whole going viral, where, when someone goes viral, I'm sure it's a huge rush for them. There's probably a lot of excitement for them, especially if you're extroverted. If you're introverted, maybe not. It might be the opposite. You might get really anxious. There's and then when you go viral, like, it's like then your numbers go up. You get more recognition. And so overall, take that how you want, but I'm getting, it's like you're being recognized for something here. And you're recognized, not only are you being recognized for something, you are recognizing something within yourself. And that's where the whole higher consciousness comes into play. I really feel deeply that you are going to discover something just magnificent this month, something that's just going to really shift and change your perspective. So you may even experience a shift this month, a timeline shift. If you've ever experienced anything like that, when you feel like a shift took place, or like you felt like you jumped timelines, which these things can typically happen around eclipses. That's kind of like what they do. They eclipse timelines for us. They help us shift into new frequencies. It can happen instantly, or like over a couple hours. You will feel like when a timeline shift happens, it's like you feel like you jumped ahead like 20 years or so, or like 10 years. You feel like you're in a brand new environment, even though like you're literally in the same place you've always been. you know, that's a timeline shift, you know. And so you may be experiencing something like that. And with timeline shifts, that is actually your higher consciousness expanding. It is your soul ascending. And so, you know, that's pretty exciting stuff. And with that, there can be some major breakthroughs for you guys. For the June readings, if you didn't pick a card from there, I will say though, all those cards from all the options you had for June, there was breakthroughs and transformations with all of them. And so this could be a continuation of that, because that was the energy coming in for them for June, was the breakthroughs and transformations. And so I feel you are integrating that now, like you're in that energy now, you're in that space now, and very, very soon you are going to do the actual breakthrough. Okay, pretty exciting. Let me see what else I can dig for you guys. I want to see if there's anything like very specific. Maybe I can give very specific messages for people. Let's see. Okay, so with the peace offering, this may even be you making a peace offering instead of somebody else stepping in. So I feel that perhaps then some of you are needing to mend some broken hearts. You're needing to apologize for something. You're needing to own up to a mistake. So this is very specific. It's not going to be for everybody, but that could be the case where you're needing, like, you want to rekindle a relationship. I really feel this is more to do with relationships, with one-on-one connections. It could be romantic, it could be personal, professional, family, friends, acquaintances. It could be anything. So that's very specific, but there could be, for some of you, an opportunity for you to make amends with somebody. So likely with somebody in your past that you're not talking to anymore, or you're not on good terms with, this would be a good month to offer your olive branch to them. I also want to say that you do want to be careful. So here, let's start closing out the reading and I'll wrap it all up for you guys. And then I'll speak a little bit more on the Archangel energy. And then when we are done, I will display the Oracle card Curiosity on the screen with the booklet, with the description of the booklet. So you could screenshot that and keep that with you for the rest of the month. It will act as a guide for you. And then, of course, you want to call on Zachriel for guidance and assistance. I will actually leave a link in the description below of a place you can go. It's a website that kind of explains what he does, and that way you can get a better understanding of who he is and like what he could offer for you, or the kind of archetypal energy you can step into this month. But before that, let's close the reading out and then we'll do that. So closing the reading, I want to wrap the entire reading together. And you do want to be careful moving forward, although you have like the horizon, you have the whole horizon ahead of you. Like, your opportunities are endless. You're going to be able to push forward with something here in your life. You're going to upgrade. You want to still be very careful. You want to keep things balanced. We have the Two of Pentacles. It is just a strong reminder to me that you need to take it step by step, especially when Venus goes retrograde on July 22nd. You really want to be mindful of your actions and how you're spending money, how you're spending your resources, your time, your energy. Even you want to pause with relationships. If relationships are rocky, you want to really be mindful of what you say and be mindful of the decisions that you make. Anything related to Venus, you just kind of want to slow it down. And so I feel that the Two of Pentacles is a reminder to slow things down and keep the balance, because if you are in the Knight of Wands energy, where it was like in the reverse position, where it's more chaotic, it's more careless, you're gonna see an imbalance and you might see some loss. In fact, you're going to see some loss, and it can be loss of any kind. And so we want to avoid that. So that's very important that I bring that up. Okay, so just to close the reading out. But overall, it looks really good. I just feel like you guys are in a fantastic place. You feel great. You're very confident. You're very curious. You're very interested in what lies ahead of you, and as well as expanding your consciousness and expanding your spiritual practice. This is going to be a fantastic month for you guys in regards to that. Also, I just want to say that before the reading, I channeled a song for you guys. I really feel that music is very important for us as individuals because we are made of vibration, we are made of sound. And if you know anything about music and like spirituality and like the different frequencies and things like that, you know and understand that music has a very strong effect on us, you know, possibly more subtle and easily can be ignored, but either way, music is very influential on us. And so before I picked cards, I channeled a song, and the song now is so fitting for this entire reading. So I'm excited to share with you guys that the song is Move by Beyonce featuring Grace Jones and Thames. And so listen to that song. You may find a message in there, or maybe it could just serve as like an anthem for the month. Either way, check out that song if you're interested in that sort of thing. And to close out with the archangel that you can call upon if you are familiar with working with angels or with working with any kind of guide or entity, you know, where you call upon them and ask for their assistance. This would be a great angel to work with. Zachriel, again, one of the seven, like the seven main angels. He is also one of the four angels of the apocalypse. So you want to keep that in mind too. He's here to help you. He's one of the angels to help guide souls. And so he is here to offer his assistance, and he is the angel of memory. And so this has to do with your mind, your consciousness, your subconscious, your conscious mind, as well as your unconscious mind, which is like the subconscious. And speaking of subconscious, perhaps pay attention to your dreams. If you do any kind of dream work, you can call upon this angel before you go to bed each night, and he may visit you in your dreams. So you want to pay attention to that and see what kind of messages you get in your dreams, because your dreams come from your subconscious mind. This is part of, I see it as like a higher mind, you know, because it is the mind that cannot see. It is only, it doesn't see with your two eyes, right? There's a twist to that. There's, you know, there's something about that for me anyways. And so you really, and your subconscious mind is where you store all your memories, and your mind actually remembers everything since maybe even a little bit before birth. Like when you become right before birth, you can become awake, and you know, and so your subconscious mind remembers everything. With that said, you may even be recovering memories, past memories. Hopefully they are good and they're not traumatic. Either way, whatever does come up, you want to work with it. And if it is something traumatic, remember that it's not happening right now. It's in the past, and it only exists as a memory. And so memories, working with the mind, is a very important this month. Okay? All right, so now I got to close the reading. Unfortunately, I'd like to keep going, but we are at that mark now. It's about 30 minutes. It's probably over 30 minutes, honestly. And yeah, so we're going to close the reading. I will display the oracle on the screen for you now, so you may screenshot it, sit with it, and I hope to see you guys in the next reading. The next video I will be uploading will be a Cancer new moon video. We will take a look at the next 6 months and see what could come into you up until the Cancer full moon, which I believe happens at the end of December. It usually does the end of December, beginning of January. In that video, we'll take a look at what you could expect to happen over the course of 6 months according to where Cancer falls in your birth chart. And if you aren't interested in that video, then perhaps I will see you in the next monthly video for August. And so you guys have a wonderful month and take good care. Welcome and thank you for your presence. If you pick card number 3, Protection, this is your reading for July 2023. We will begin the reading by taking a look at your current energies and see where you are at this moment. Then we'll look at what to expect in the month ahead. Today I am using the Urban Crow Oracle, the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot, and Angelarium, Oracle of Emanations. To start this reading, we are going to take a look at the Oracle card Protection. And basically, this card represents the overall energy of this reading and of the month ahead for you. This is basically like the leading energy. It's the main underlining energy of the month. This will give us an idea of what you can expect, where you're going to see more attention. So this is an aspect of your life that will basically take lead for the rest of the month. And we have the card Protection. And this card, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's all about protecting what is yours, protecting yourself, protecting others who are important, protecting your money, your assets, your property, things of any kind of form of protection. But this card in particular usually speaks more of a deeper protection, a spiritual protection. It's more about being protected by the divine, by source. And it's giving me Hermit card vibes where you basically have to trust the process. You have to trust that you are being guided in the right direction. And so for those of you who picked this card, this will be a major theme for you this month. This will be a leading energy taking place in your life. And then for your current energies, we have tarot cards, and we have the Six of Swords reversed, Knight of Wands, and Knight of Swords in reverse. And then the current energies basically reflects what you are currently going through. And it doesn't matter what time you click on this video. If you come to this video at the end of the month, it could still represent the current energies you are experiencing, or it's going to represent the energies at the beginning of the month. And then what you could expect to come into your life will be the Eight of Cups, the High Priestess in reverse, and Six of Pentacles. And then I also have another oracle card for you guys, and this card is basically representing your guide this month. This is your spirit guide. This is an archetypal energy or an emanation that you could call upon, or even a spirit animal. And so this is an energy that can guide you this month to help you get through any difficult times, or to help inspire you to create change or to be more creative. And the oracle card you got to serve as a guide for you this month is Keter, the crown, spirituality. And Keter represents the top Sephiroth on the tree of life. This is basically where the divine light enters into the atmosphere, enters into the world, enters into even the human body, or I guess you could say the human psyche. This is the spark of inspiration. This is that sudden, instant connection to divine source. And with this card, we could even see it representing Archangel Metatron, who is the archangel that resides over Keter. And he's a very powerful and also somewhat popular archangel, and he is representative of all knowledge and wisdom of the universe. Basically, he is known as the scribe to God, and so he keeps record of everything, of all things that are living, of all things that are created. And so he holds space quite literally for the universe. And so if you are in need of some guidance, of some emanation or archangel you can call upon, a spirit guide, then you can work with the energy of Keter and the archangel Metatron. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right into the reading. So we'll start with the current energy so we can get an idea of where you are at this moment or where you were at the beginning of the month. And this will also help you decide if this is the correct reading for you. If you can't relate to the current energies, then I suggest you check a secondary card that caught your attention. And if not, if there isn't any, then hopefully next video there will be a reading for you. And so we're going to go ahead and dive into that, and we'll tie it all together with the oracle card, and then we'll head into what to expect. And I would say with the current energies, it's pretty interesting because my immediate response was that there's been a huge change of plans. And for some of you guys, it's probably really chaotic right now as far as not knowing what direction to take or not knowing what the outcome's going to be now. And for others of you, I feel that you've made a sudden decision, a sudden change of plans. There's just been a sudden change of plans, whether you have taken action on these plans or if these plans were sudden and somewhat out of your control. And as I am recording this, it is 14:14 on the clock, which is 2:14 p.m. And that's actually one way Metatron works, is through numbers, especially numerology. And numerology is also very important when it comes to the tree of life and Kabbalah. And so perhaps that's a sign for you guys this month to pay attention to number synchronicities. And basically what you want to do is capture the number, like take mental note or a picture, screenshot, or whatever, just do it for yourself, whatever's going to help you remember. And then try to think about the moment that you're in. Like, think it's more or less the thoughts you're having versus like what you're feeling, at least in my experience. You want to pay attention to what you're thinking, whether it's positive or negative. And don't worry if it's a negative thought. It's because you could take negativity and alchemize it. There's an alchemy to negativity, and you want to avoid negativity, but it's very important that you also embrace it from a spiritual aspect. For this group, there's been some kind of change of plans. There's been a sudden relocation. For some of you, there's been a downgrade. For some of you, there's been some kind of roadblock. Either way, there's been something that has entered your life and has altered, I guess you could say, an expectation of something else. Your original plans are no longer going to, at least at this moment, they're not going to go the way you had initially planned. I also feel for some of you, this is something that you have taken upon yourself. This is something this is your doing, in other words. And there's some excitement with that. I feel that there's good reason for it, but on one end there's still something very chaotic, very stressful about it, and it could involve other people. So for some of you, there may be people who you've had to turn down in some way. It could be romantic, it could be personal business, it could be for selfish needs, it could be for, but selfish needs in the sense of you're doing it for your benefit, for your own good, at least in the way that you perceive it. And so, unfortunately, you've had to cut somebody off. You had to end a relationship, a partnership. So there are quite a few things I'm getting here for a lot of you. So also keep that in mind, that I'm reading for at least more than one person. And So you got to take these messages according and apply them according to your situation in your life. And this could be in the reverse. This could be somebody that has done this to you, to where they've ended a relationship with you, where they've decided to go in a different direction for their own needs and desires. And so there seems to be a bit of confusion. However, there does seem to be a level of freedom in either situation, whether someone has done this to you or whether this is your own doing, or even if this is some other external doing, like it has nothing to do with the person, it could be something entirely different. You know, a job, a situation, you know, maybe something medical, you know, even something spiritual. So again, this could apply in many different ways. But either way, there does seem to be some sense of freedom for you. I feel for some of you, there's a new sense of identity. It's like you've reawakened to an aspect of yourself that was kept hidden from you, or something that, or over time, something that has become numb to you. And now you've regained it. Now you're getting it back. And so there's a new sense of freedom. And that's really what it is, a new sense of freedom. It's not a freedom you've experienced before. You also want to be careful with planning any kind of trip or travel, especially when Venus goes retrograde on the 22nd. I feel you guys will be very affected by it the most, largely because we have a lot of energy here that speaks about action and reversal and delays. And so if you are planning the travel, you want to really plan ahead, book your flights ahead, book your tickets ahead, you know, your hotels, whatever. Do what you got to do to get ahead. And with that said, perhaps the holidays may be difficult for you this month. You might experience some cancel of plans. I feel like overall this month, you might see a repetitive theme of people canceling plans, or you're canceling plans. So for some of you, this could even mean I'm getting, especially if you work for yourself, if you are like a freelancer of some sort, or you work in a position where, you know, like sales, for example, where you have to rely on your own commission. I feel like you're going to be canceling plans in some way in relation to that. So maybe meetings, maybe clients, maybe you're having to turn down clients. And with that said, I'm getting like, because there's family matters at home that you have to attend to, but it could also be just personal, you know, something at the home, or a need to spend more time at home. I've also was getting earlier in the reading some kind of injury, so maybe this sudden cancellation and delay of plans has to do with an injury, and so you'll be spending time this month recovering from that. You want to pay attention to the Leo and Aquarius axis in your chart, because the Knight of Wands represents Leo and the Knight of Swords represents Aquarius, which is pretty ironic. You definitely want to see what's going on in those two houses in your birth chart. And I'm kind of getting like North Node, South Node kind of vibes. So maybe those of you watching might even have your nodal axis in those two signs. And so I feel the Knight of Swords is representing the South Node in Aquarius, and the Knight of Wands is representing the North Node in Leo, which is quite ironic. So you could take that even like as a metaphor. You could even just look at the archetypal energy of Leo and Aquarius. Or it could even be the type of, it could be the people that you're dealing with. They have these placements, or you yourself have these placements. Either way, I would take those two energies and apply them to your life and see what you can get from that. And so that has to do with, okay, so Leo has to do with your identity, your self-expression, your creativity, things that bring you joy and happiness, your hobbies, things that how you entertain people and how you like to be entertained by others. It could even represent relationships, but more like short-term relationships, as well as like hookup kind of relationships. So things that aren't like serious, but also it could be representative of the kind of fun you have inside of a relationship. So if you're in a relationship, you know, it, even though there's something here with like an ending to a relationship, if you're in a committed like relationship and this isn't affecting that, like what I'm picking up, it has to do with something else, then this could be the kind of fun that you have together in the relationship, you know, to keep things like to keep it from things going stale, basically. So that might be a message for somebody. Maybe these are something you need to consider. Maybe you need to lighten up within your relationships. But I feel that's like a very specific message. So let's just stick with the overall message. And then Aquarius represents the collective, but at a more like individual level. So it's about being an individual within the collective. It's about expressing yourself, expressing your freedom among others and allowing space for others to do the same. It also speaks of rebellious aspects of ourselves. So it is a very creative energy. It's a very creative sign. Um, Aquarius is like, I compare it to Pisces on a spiritual level, to where Pisces is more feeling, Aquarius would be more thought and mind, of, you know, the spiritual mind versus a spiritual feeling, which would be Pisces. The spiritual like imagination, there's more rationality with Aquarius. And so their creativity is expressed very differently. It's more verbal and it's more like symbolic. You know, I think like graffiti when I think Aquarius. It's, you know, that kind of artwork. You know, and then like Aquarius is known to be the rebel, to be the one who challenges the system. And so basically, you want to look at those two areas of your life and see if you can get anything. I could honestly, I feel like that message can go deeper, but that's like, I'm I'm also getting in this reading that there's a lot of work you're gonna have to do for yourself, especially because with the energy coming up, we have the High Priestess there, and she's in the reverse position, and so there's some concern with that kind of energy when she's in the reverse, which we'll take a look at soon. But it seems that you're really having to, you know, you have to embrace this freedom that you're receiving from whatever it is that you're disconnected from at the moment, whatever it is that has ended, that has changed. You need to, it's teaching you a lesson to really stand on your own. And that's pretty powerful, especially because, again, we have Keter, which we want to work with the Archangel Metatron here. And he is a very protective energy. You know, when you work with Metatron, and he's actually a great energy to work with, I would say out of all the archangels and like deities and emanations out there, I've worked with Metatron the most. And so he's really there to offer insight and wisdom. Okay. And it can get really deep, and like, it'd be fun to maybe one day like do a video about it and like explain, at least from my experience and my perspective. You know, I can't speak for like, I can only speak for myself based on my experience. But basically, you know, you want to really, and the thing about Metatron that's great is that he gives you the confidence to walk alone, to continue on your path, and to find, it's about finding your own light. Okay. And so on a spiritual level, I haven't touched up on that yet. At a spiritual level, there could be some abandonment here. You could be feeling very abandoned, maybe even by the divine, by the universe. Maybe you're very disappointed in something. And any kind of disappointment you have outside of you, especially towards a divine creation, like a god basically, or God himself. If you feel that way, any kind of resentment towards the universe in any way, it's a reflection of a resentment towards yourself. And so right now it seems that you're probably being forced to take a deeper look within yourself. And that's going to play out very differently for a lot of you. For some of you, it's going to be really deep, but for others, it may not be as deep. And it might even be a very, very temporary thing. And then for others, this might be something you've experienced before, and you're likely to experience again. But regardless, you're having to really dig deep here and really find answers within yourself. And it's interesting because I'm not getting like any kind of Saturnian energy with this. I mean, it's more like an Aries energy. I mean, we are dealing with Leo, and Leo is very self, I guess you could say self-righteous. And so there's a need for you to, it's more about standing in your power. It has a less to do with discipline than it does with just owning up to yourself, owning up to your power, and believing in yourself, believing in your intuition, which is what the high priestess in reverse can represent. When she's in reverse, it represents a lack of trust in your own intuition. And so currently at this time, this is what you're being asked to do. So really deep message. I hope this is coming out right because I'm really channeling here, and I'm in the zone, so I don't know what it's going to sound like until I go edit the video. So let's end it here because this is actually a lot longer than it's supposed to be. I'm actually supposed to be ending the reading very shortly, but yeah, that's not happening. So let's go ahead and move on. Let's quickly look ahead at what you could expect in the month ahead. And again, we have the Eight of Cups, the High Priestess in reverse, and the Six of Pentacles. And the Eight of Cups is really representing that energy of having to walk away from something. So because there's been something that you're having to change your plans, you're really having to walk away from something here. And a lot of you are very disappointed in this. A lot of you are burning bridges as well. I'm getting a sense that some of you guys are like walking away from this, and you're walking away from it for good. You're going on your own personal adventure here. It could be the beginning stages of a hermit kind of cycle in your life. So you may be more withdrawn later on this month, because this is what you can expect to come in. And so there's a lot of withdrawal. There's a lot of disconnect. There's a lot more introspection. And again, I'm getting that like a lot of you were really questioning things. You're really questioning yourself. You're questioning the universe. You're questioning a situation. You're questioning life. And so it's pretty difficult because on one end, I feel that you are still very grounded. I still feel that you're still very stable. Let's say there's still an aspect in your life that's still very grounded and rooted. You have a strong foundation there. And so if things aren't like completely off balance for you, but still there's a lot of doubt here. And then with the High Priestess in reverse, at least in my readings, when I get this in readings, I feel that there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to your own intuition as well as your own spiritual path. And there could be some misunderstandings or even misinterpretations of your intuition. Perhaps you're dwelling on it too much, and so your mind starts coming up with something else. And that's not how intuition works. You know, intuition, it's just a knowing. It's just like it's very quiet. It's very subtle. It happens and then it goes. It doesn't linger. Okay? And so I apologize if you heard that alarm or notification. It was a rooster, by the way. Okay, so we'll turn off the notifications and hopefully it doesn't happen again. But perhaps that rooster notification going off means something, because a rooster's crow is actually very, very symbolic. The rooster's crow announces like a renewal, an ascension, of rebirth. And so that's pretty powerful. There seems to be an ascension or rebirth happening and taking place for you guys. And I think deep down you know that. You already know that. But there's still something here you're missing. I feel like perhaps for some of you, you're just misinterpreting this as, I don't know, actually, because it's different for everybody. But either way, you're misinterpreting it. It's not what you think it is. It's what you know it is, which is pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. That was a cool message. It's what you already know. It's what you already have. And that leads me to the Six of Pentacles. It's what you already have, and it's what you can already offer. But it's what you can offer to yourself, which I feel can relate to Leo energy. It's what Leo gives to themselves that makes them so great. It's the sun. The sun is the ruler of Leo. It's what you give to yourself. And so does your ego fulfill you, or does your ego drain you? And that's how you can tell the difference between a healthy ego and an unhealthy ego. Unhealthy ego is never going to be satisfied. A healthy ego is more about, has to do with confidence and knowing who you are and knowing your powers, as well as your limitations, knowing that you don't know it all, knowing that you can't do it all. Okay, that would be an unhealthy ego, to think you could do it all, to think you're better or whatever. But a healthy ego knows that they're powerful, knows that they're capable, but they also understand there's limitations. If you've never ran a marathon, you can't expect to just run a marathon the first time, you know, without wanting to pass out. So that's the limitation there. And so the Six of Pentacles is about offering service. It's about offering resources. It also has to do with charity work. So perhaps charity work might be something like auspicious, I guess you could say, something that can like reverse, or not like reverse karma, but like it could be something that helps clear up karmic debt. Charity, offering wisdom, offering resources, offering your time. But even this can really apply to yourself, though. In this situation, at least in this reading, I feel like this is more has to do with yourself. Although, you know, giving to charity is never a bad idea, anyways. But with staying focused on yourself, it's like being your own guru. It's being your own source of inspiration, your own source of, and in a sense, it's understanding that God, the divine, is a unlimited source. Actually, not limited. It is a very unlimited source that you have the opportunity of receiving. You just have to be open. You have to be on the right frequency to receive that, which is another thing you could do with Metatron, is Metatron helps you to align to a higher frequency. He helps you to align with the divine so you can easily reach the divine, so you could speak to the divine. And a big part of this receiving is through the heart, which is also representative of Leo. Leo would be the heart and Aquarius would be the mind. And so maybe there's a balance here taking place, something coming into your life, because on the Six of Pentacles, in the imagery, you see a man holding a scale, and it's a very balanced scale. And he's helping these people who are less fortunate. And he has plenty more resources. He's not depleting his resources another way. Like, helping these men doesn't tip the scales at all. It keeps it balanced. So you could take that in any way, spiritually, metaphorically. And so you're here, it seems that the heart and mind are coming into play, and then there's a need to keep them balanced. And so the Six of Pentacles also speaks of service. So service might be a way for you to, I guess, get out of any, I guess, what am I trying to say? I'm not sure how to explain it, but like, service is, it's like a way through. It's not a way out, it's a way through, is what I'm getting. So take that how it resonates with you. I'm also feeling like when it comes to the High Priestess in reverse, that maybe I feel there'll be some new information that reaches you this month, and it's going to have you questioning a belief you've had before, a thought, a perspective. And so your consciousness is being very affected by this. Oh, I know what I wanted to say, because I was going on about the heart and mind, and Metatron, in order to receive through Metatron, is through the heart. This is kind of like all over the place, and I apologize if I'm not making any sense. I'm just like, I'm channeling what it is I'm receiving in this reading, and so it's pretty interesting, and it's very profound, actually. I really went into this reading with no expectation, and it's actually a lot deeper than I had anticipated. Okay, so let's just end it there, at least. Like, let's just stop here and gather ourselves. And with that said, again, I feel like you guys are grounded. So I'll say with the Oracle card, the big message here is that you're being guided. You're being strongly guided in the right direction. And so I feel there is an inner knowing, like you feel that internally, you know that intuitively. And that's what's keeping you grounded this month, which is pretty exciting, actually, because I feel like you are going to have some like profound experiences. Some of you may even have like prophetic dreams or visions or things like that. Like, I feel like things could just happen really quickly, or even like the numerology, like there could just be synchronicities everywhere, and things are just like lining up, and so it's going to be a rush, but I feel though that you'll still be grounded, and you'll still be able to relish it in the moment and not hold on to it. So that's another big thing, is to not hold on to anything. This is not a month to hold on. Whatever falls away needs to fall away. I mean, we don't have the Tower card, so it's not like your foundation is falling apart. It's just there's a lot of things exiting right now. So this month is a big month of exit. And so when it comes to protection, at least with that word, I feel it's like I'm getting like an image of like a knight, how they wear this protective body armor to protect themselves, and then we have two knights in this reading, and I feel like the Knight of Wands is representing you in the reading, and so, or both of them could represent you, again, if you want to go with the whole Leo Aquarius axis, or like the North Node, South Node kind of thing, if that resonates with you. You're having to go to battle, and you have to really rely on your own wisdom and skill, your own trust and faith in the divine, your own, understand that you're being guided and protected throughout all of this, no matter what happens. I guess that's the basis of that message. Okay, so now we're just going to close out the reading completely. And so now I will display the Oracle card on the screen with the description in the booklet, so you guys can screenshot that, keep it with you this month. It can act as like a personal mantra to a personal reminder. And before this reading, I channeled a song for everybody, for each group, and I thought this would be fun. I know some other tarot readers do this, and I believe that's because music is very powerful and it has such a profound effect on us. You know, we are made of light, which is a vibration, and a vibration is a frequency, and a frequency is a sound, and then that's how you get basically all of life. So we are all vibrating and making a sound, which is really cool if you think about it, right? And so I channeled a song for you guys because songs hold very powerful messages, even if the artist has no idea or that wasn't the intent. Music is very powerful and it's very spiritual in nature. And the song is Idea 628 by Jayla Darden. And I will be honest, I do play the song in rotation. It gets played a lot. I mean, it's a really good song, but it is a song that came to my mind and it just sat with me. I even double checked, you know, like, are you sure that's the song? And yes, that's the song for you guys. So I don't know. Maybe there's something in that song that you can take from, and maybe those numbers 6 to 8 mean something to you. So either way, you know, it's just something you can check out if you were interested in. Okay, and so the reading is going to end here now. I thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you being here with me and allowing me to offer this reading for you. I do offer private tarot readings, so if you're interested in purchasing a reading with me, you may do so on my Etsy shop. The link is in the description below, and that should do it.